Mike Tyson and Jake Paul are too fat to be boxing. Nick, I love you, brother, but you couldn't be more wrong about this.
Whoever's in charge of Jake and Mike's strength and conditioning program should be fucking fired. And yes, your body composition matters when you're in a fight. Jake looks like the Pillsbury Doughboy, but went gangster because he has all the fucking tattoos. Now, Mike, on the other hand, he's 60 years old. He gets a pass. He's a fucking legend. But these tattoos are really questionable. When I prep fighters, they're in tip-top shape. Lean, muscular, agile, fast, conditioned. These two guys are going to take one hit and pass out. I wish we can get Mike Tyson to do a gene test from True Genetics. I would love to see what this guy's genes look like. Oh yeah, go over to TrueGenetics.com and order your DNA test kit now.
Boom! Boom! What's up, everyone? Marc Lobliner, TigerFitness.com. Big fight coming up. Jake Paul, Mike Tyson. So I'm scrolling Instagram. I'm on the flight the other day, and I'm like, I'm going to see what's going on the gram. I'm not tired. I'm not going to sleep. Seat's a little bit uncomfortable. Let me look through the gram, right? I got the free Wi-Fi going on. I'm like, let's rock. So I get to Nick Trigili's video, and he's saying that whoever coached Mike Tyson and Jake Paul did wrong because they're not in shape. They're not shredded. Guys, this isn't bodybuilding. And Nick goes on to say the boxers he's brought into fights are shredded, in shape, nimble, blah, 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 blah. Look, Nick, I don't know what boxers you've trained, but I've actually trained boxers. Out of Music City Boxing, I've trained a few of their pro fighters. I've dieted them down. Obviously, I'm not holding mitts for them, but I'm handling their nutrition. I don't do it anymore, but I've done it, right? I also have partaken in boxing myself, getting down from heavyweight to the weight class below that. That's 203 and under, which for me is very hard to get to. And I'm going to tell you the reason people lose weight, and it's not because it makes you a better boxer. I also have children. My daughter's a regional wrestling champion. My son, one of them won state a couple years ago. I have another one who's nationally wrestling, and he's probably going to win state this year. So I know about fighting. I know about weight. And at the end of the day, I'm going to give you a little bit of science here, a little bit of science. Mass times acceleration equals force. Even in baseball, my nephew played at Kansas State for his first 2 years, got in the transfer portal. He's playing for University of San Diego now, Jaden. He wants to get as big and heavy as possible, within reason, right? And he has my metabolism, my brother's metabolism. Dude's just burning calories. Want to get him up to 190. Currently, he's in the 180s. Because, again, you're swinging a bat if you keep the same velocity, the same speed, same hip movement, same strength, or more strength. Again, force equals mass times acceleration. As a boxer, I got my butt kicked a lot of times. And there's a reason I dropped down to the weight below heavyweight at 203 and under versus wrestling at my normal weight, which was around 220. And the reason being is that the bigger guys are taller, but I also, and they can just jab me all day. I'm 5'7". These guys are like 6'6", right? But I was a better boxer at a heavier weight. It's just the bigger guys were even better. So my better chance was to drop down to a lower class. So they're a little bit shorter. And also, even though I'm not as good, I'm still better compared to the other guys, right? I'm also at the very top of the weight class. Again, you want to be at the top of the weight class within reason. So I'm going to give you a name. I believe it's, let me just make sure I'm right, Emmanuel Stewart. He's a famed boxing coach. Coached Lennox Lewis and Hearns, famous boxing coach. His theory, and he was famous for this, is not to drop boxers below their natural fighting weight because you're weaker, you're cutting. If you've ever dieted for a show, even when you get to that 8-week out mark, things just start getting worse. Like you don't have as much endurance. Like you're light, but you don't have as much endurance. So if you notice who the heavyweight champions are, who do you have lately? Like there's a couple shredded ones, right? Like there's some really good shredded boxers. But you look at who's won. Tyson Fury, not shredded. In fact, he's kind of fat. Andy Ruiz. Got my boy Big Baby out there in New York. Guys, these aren't shredded guys. Now, as you get to the other weight classes, if you have a guy who's at 180 and he could drop down to 170, I'm not saying the correct weight classes, don't get all technical on me. If he takes even 90% of what he had at 180, if he's at the top of the weight class at 170, he's going to be in a better position. So the only reason it makes sense to drop weight is so you're wrestling lesser people. People might not be as stronger. So even if you take 80% of your strength you had at 180, you're still stronger than the guy who's 170 because you're still a 180 guy wrestling down to 170. I'll give you my son, for example, Thomas. He naturally wrestles at 120 to 126, right? But for the season, because his team, there's a couple 120 guys, but also he's so strong compared to the other 113s that he's just going to drop down to that because it's his better chance of winning state, which is the ultimate goal. But he'll tell you this, his coach will tell you this, everybody will tell you this. He's a better wrestler at 120 because he's stronger. He has more power, more leverage. Now, boxing, what does that have to do with weight? Like you're just hitting people. When you have, there's a reason there's weight classes. When you have more weight, more force, and you drop, like remember, you're not just throwing a punch. When you throw a punch, you can't see my lower body. I'm naked. So anyway, you're throwing it and you're like, you're not just doing this. You're literally getting your hips, you're on your toe, and boom, you're coming over. When you reach here, you're loading this hand, you're doing this. Look, if you can see my hips right now, your arm is just basically carrying the momentum of your lower body. The more weight you have, the more force you will have. Because mass times acceleration equals force. Outright bars are back in stock in our top-selling flavors, including the all-time bestseller cookies and cream. Go to tigerfitness.com now. Stock up on outright bars because whoever you are, whatever you do, the outright bar is perfect for you. Go to tigerfitness.com now. So when I'm dieting, guys, when I'm helping them out and we're choosing what weight class, this guy I was helping with his diet, his name was Jarrett. He's a professional boxer out here. And he was a heavyweight. Like he's my height. Maybe a little taller. I can't remember the exact height. Like we were like eye to eye. He was 210. At 5'7", 5'8". He's boxing guys who are 260 at 6'3", 6'5", right? He was winning, but we're like, hey, if we're able to take even 90% of what you are now, we take your butt to the ring, and you're against a natural 190. You're going to have all that strength that can knock out a 250, but you're going to be 190. You're going to have at least 80, 90% of that strength. So when I see videos like this from bodybuilders and nutrition guys, talk to the Dulce diet guy. Like he's trained fighters forever, right? Like we know, even like take weightlifting, even weightlifting, you're a power lifter. Are you going to lift more? Are you going to bench press more at 300 pounds than you would at 200 pounds? Yes. It's about leverage. Even when you're laying on a bench, weight matters. My buddy Nate Baxter, I believe he still has the record in Australia for bench press. Nate was on a mission. Now he's a tall dude. He's like 6'5", right? I think. Bro, he was at 380. Guy would come to Dr. Stu's office in Illinois. When he was visiting Illinois, he would come to the office with 24 Dunkin' Donuts because he knew that the more weight he had, the more mass he had, the more acceleration he had, the more density he had, the more powerful the force. So this is not a shot at Nick Trigili. He's just the first video I saw. I don't know if anybody who knows anything about fighting in this match, right? In this fight, there's no weight. So there's a couple things going for you. Number one is, yeah, if Tyson had a little less fat, if Jake Paul had a little less fat, they'd have more endurance, right? But this isn't going to go the full rounds. I just don't think it will. And you also have a different thing. Remember the best 4-round boxer of all time, in my opinion? Butterbean. Yeah, Butterbean. If you're a 4-round boxer, you don't have to have that much endurance. You have to go 12 minutes. That's it. 12 fucking minutes. Even when I was boxing, as an amateur, 3 2-minute rounds, I have to go 6 minutes. 6 minutes. What my wife would give if I could last a full 6 minutes? Shit, in a couple of my exhibitions, we only did a minute and a half because it was an exhibition. And me and the other guy were like, hey, it's just a fucking exhibition. Let's let's cut this down by 30 seconds so we can have something so we won't be worn out. Like, go fighting is so hard, right? Back to the point. Nick, with all due respect, I know you're trying to sell shit. I know you're clickbaiting, and so am I. We all fucking clickbait, but my clickbait is actually legit. Bro, you're fucking wrong. You're wrong. As long as these guys have the stamina to go the full rounds, the more they weigh, the more force they can generate. That's fucking science. It's fucking science. And again, with Coach Stewart, we know that it's been done in the past. Was Hearns a shit boxer? Was Lennox Lewis a shit boxer? This guy did it with many other boxers. The point he became famous for it. With that being said, it's happening tonight. What do you guys think about this fight? If it's not fixed, and Tyson is even 50% of what he was, not even in his prime, but in the end of his career, bro, it's lights out. If Jake wins, I'm going to have trouble believing that this isn't fixed. I'm being real. I'm being 100 with you. I'm being 100. If Jake wins, I'm going to be like, oh, shit. That was sick. But after the whole thing last night where he stepped on Tyson's toe and Tyson slapped his ass, and I've seen Tyson's demeanor. I don't know if he's that good of an actor. It's gotten really fucking weird and scary. I am really excited. I think it's going to be great. Unfortunately, I will be on the sideline. We coach high school football, so we're the straight legacy of Carbon. So we're going to be on the sideline. I'm going to have my phone. So hopefully my boys beat the crap out of the other team so I can turn on my phone and watch that fight on Netflix. All right, guys, let me know your thoughts. Anyway, if you like this channel, please support me by going to tigerfitness.com. That's tigerfitness.com. Coupon code MAHA. MAHA. Coupon code MAHA. Gets you 10% off everything on the site. Everything on the site. Go to tigerfitness.com now. Save, support us. And, of course, like this video. Subscribe to this channel. Click on that there notification bell. And, of course, remember. Because not knowing how physics work, that's not a game. Fish oil is one of the staple supplements that you should take. Now, for me, I like to have a 2-to-1 EPA to DHA ratio. Now, DHA is awesome. A lot of cognitive benefits come from DHA, but if you get anti-inflammation and things that we go through as people who want to train, who want to be active, want to feel great, you want slightly more EPA. That's why I created MTS Nutrition Fish Oil. Now, this is a 2-to-1 EPA to DHA ratio. It is fantastic, and it has citrus, so it's not going to give you the fishy burps. And the way we make it, it's not going to be rancid. That's one thing you got to fear. A lot of these fish oils, they can go rancid and actually be more bad than they are good. But we actually don't have that problem with MTS Nutrition Fish Oil. The dosing I recommend will be above label. Label, we just take one soft gel or as directed by a fitness professional or a medical professional. But for me, I like to take 3 grams of total EPA and DHA a day combined. So with that said, I take 5 MTS Nutrition Fish Oil a day. Now, I love my brand. I recommend it. It's a tremendous value. Available right now at tigerfitness.com. If you want a great fish oil, if you want to support a company who loves you, support a company who doesn't hate you, support a company with the best customer service and people, American family-owned company, MTS Nutrition, tigerfitness.com. Get your fish oil today.